Welcome back, everybody. Trav is in Vegas. Trav is ready to go. I tell you what, it feels like we're officially kicking the year off here at League of Inches, and I am so pumped to bring you guys the live shows once again. We are back for a Tuesday night now. I can't keep saying how pumped I am for this, but I'm going to quickly get a little bit off the chest in terms of what's the deal with the show. Obviously, a bit of a different lineup. So Adam's obviously now, Talking Para has been going off, so he has to turn his focus to Talking Para. So unfortunately, we have lost him. Mika and Jezza, unfortunately, thanked him heaps for their time. They just can't commit this year, and we wanted to make sure we bring you each and every week committed lineups. So got a couple of the boys who you're used to already by now. They're keen as for 2025. You've heard them both already in a lot of our podcasts. Jake, I'll introduce you first. How's things, mate? You're ready for a huge live show season, really?
Yeah, mate, I'm psyched. You know, I've had my preseason. Last year I came in mid-season signing. I've had my preseason. I've really put in. I've been training the house down. You know, I'm ready to go, to be honest.
Trav, what's doing,
it's
brother?
Vegas,
what
baby.
is doing?
It's Vegas. Here we go. Oh, I am representing. Let's go. Let's get it going. No, how good is this? I can't wait. I'm so excited. Live show. I've been waiting months. Been a long preseason after a Storm loss in the grand final. So, hey, now I'm over it and we can get ready for the new year and go again. This is exciting, guys. So exciting.
Did you buy those glasses or you had them just lying around the house, mate?
I'm lucky I've had a wife who's been to Vegas, but how good are they?
Oh, fantastic.
Before we get kicked off, there's plenty to chat about tonight. Obviously, Vegas team lists have dropped a few surprises in there, which we will discuss. Chat about a few other big talking points coming out from the trials weekend as well. Firstly, I just want to thank everyone out there. We have had huge growth throughout this off-season so far. Absolutely crazy numbers, nothing like we've seen before. So I want to thank everyone out there, all our social media pages, our podcast, YouTube as well. Everyone out there, every single person has listened, liked, commented, whatever it is, joined our Legends group as well. All of it, I can't thank you all enough. I know all the team is really appreciative, and a big shout out to the team as well. We have grown a few people in the off season, and I think you've all seen the content really go up another level. We promised that to you at the end of last year, and I think we've delivered, and we'll just keep improving now as we go on. One thing I want to plug. Obviously, it's a few days out from Vegas. I just want to let you know about the League of Inches comps that we still have available to join. They're pretty much all the overall ones to go. So Supercoach, overall comp code. If you're listening to this later on, or if you're watching now, write it down. The league code is 825336. For the NRL fantasy lovers out there, the overall comp is, and this has been so popular, I can't believe how many has joined this one, 7M for Mary, 965, 9H for Harry, E for Egg. Last one is our ESPN footy tipping. So there is a free one, and thanks to Advisory, has chucked in $250 of prize money for the winner. It's winner takes all. That free comp code, just go into ESPN, type in League of Inches, and the password to join that one is LOI. We have a $30 entry, cash entry one as well, $30 buy-in, but just message the page for those details because that's a separate password, and once the money has come into the account, you get into that. But that's that. And for all comps this year, shout out to Supercoach rings. They've given us a championship ring, one of those real heavy things that weighs a lot to sit on your finger. The winner will win one of those from each and every overall competition. So huge prizes. I know, Trav, from a Supercoach point of view, we've been smashing the content for that. There's been a lot behind that. So I'm anticipating that overall comp when it's going to be up against all us boys. I think Jake's in it as well, and Jesse. It's going to be a heated one.
Yeah, it's how exciting is that too, eh? Can't wait to beat you all.
Well, sorry, Rodney. Look, we'll put the first one up tonight. And again, guys, more you guys get involved, the better the show will be. For the draft, sorry, Rodney, we are completely full. And we actually had our last draft last night. So all teams have done. You'll get a lot of content this year. And then we'll put out some feelers towards the end of the year to maybe even grow again for next year, which is crazy to think because we've kind of got a 5-comp league going. So there'll be a few. We've got a little FA Cup style thing happening during the year as well. So there's plenty of content to go around there. Cannot wait to see that one. Lastly, with the plugs, just you've seen it on the entry screen as we came into the show. Just a Legends group. So it's a Facebook Legend group, $2.99 per month. It is ridiculous value. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee. That's on Facebook. You hit that subscriber hub tab on our home screen there. Go in there. There's all this exclusive content. I'm talking Supercoach, NRL. You'll get up-to-date team changes for any of our League of Inches boys, Trav, me, and Jesse, up to date there. That's the only place you will get that past the actual podcast that we film on a Wednesday night. And then basically it's 10% off League of Inches merch, and there's double entries into every single giveaway we do on a yearly basis, or throughout the year, I should say. And so far, they've got a winning percentage of about 90%. I'm not kidding, but it's definitely great value. They are killing it when it comes to winning those prizes. So go ahead, get in that league. And just to tip it off, we're about 10 members shy of 50. Once we hit 50, you're going to chance one lucky winner will win their team's polo shirt of this year. So great prizes to be won. Definitely the great time to join before the season kicks off as well. Boys, I need a break. I need a drink after that one. I've got all of it out of the way. So again, guys, if you're new to the show, please get involved with the comments, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. We'll highlight all these comments that do roll in, and we'll let you basically guide us to where you want this show to run tonight. We've got a few talking points to guide us a little bit, but the more you guys get involved, the bigger and better the show is. So hit that like button as well. Spread it out there, and away we go. Let's start with Jake. What caught your eye this week? We're bringing it back this year. Again, if you're new to the show, let us know in the comments what caught your eye this week. It doesn't have to be NRL related. It can also just be life. It could be a life one, something that caught your eye. But where are you going to take us, Jake?
I'll take this NRL related. I didn't plan for making it life related, so I'll take it there. How they made a few mistakes, but how much it seems like the Tigers have improved already. I know I've only seen 2 games. I understand that they lost the first one over, but what they caught my eye is the way that they kind of put it on us a little bit over the weekend. The Tigers looked very, very good, and specifically Terrell May. The work rate he put in for a trial just blew me away. The only other thing I was going to say in terms of what caught my eye was the Dragons. We've all had them pegged for bottom 2, and I understand that it's a trial and everything, but they've looked schmick the first 2 weeks. Same thing, like they're looking great, and specifically, and I know I'm not going to talk too much about him, but Gutho's looked a treat in that last game. He looked incredible, and we were all talking about do we have doubts, do we not, whatever. He caught my eye specifically. He played phenomenally, I think, last game.
Trav, what caught your eye this week?
Yeah, mine's NRL related too, eh? So the first one was the level of talent across the board. How good was it to see so many non-listed dudes really sticking it up to the NRL boys and holding their own? It just goes to show how much talent there actually is out there. And it certainly opened my eyes this week from last weekend around future expansion and things like that. And I'm excited to see that. So that really caught my eye. And the other one I wanted to, and I know it was a post that you put up a couple of weeks ago, Joel, around trial games and that they should be, out bush, out in certain areas. How good was that game out at Casey Fields for the Storm game on the Sunday afternoon? Out on the AFL field, out in the east. How good was that? That was rad. So awesome to see. And look, I'm a Storm fan, but I just thought it was so good just to be out there. And there was heaps of spectators. The vibe was really nice. There was music going. It was really cool to see. And I think that should happen a hell of a lot more. Yep,
I do agree. For mine, what caught my eye this week, it's been a recent thing. What happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. So obviously talking about the Hudson Young Morgan Smithies, I think, incident, I think the more info I hear about this and read, the more I end up just laughing about it and just think what has gone on. So inflatable toys involved, elevator, the security control the elevator to come back down. And they basically open the door and people are waiting there, and wowee, Vegas, it just chews you up, spits you out. That's why I will just ensure none of us League of Inches boys get over there yet. I don't think we're ready. We
Key word there is yet. I'm going to. Have a look at this. I'm repping these flamingos for shiz. Can't wait.
Give us one more year at least, please, to prepare for that.
It's not an NRL if it's not Vegas and NRL if there's not a fight before it starts.
No, it's not. That's what I said to a few people that messaged the page yesterday. I go, just how good is it? Feels like rugby league is officially back. We've got a first little scuffle last year. It was Carrigan versus Reynolds. This year we've got the Raiders boys, which now that'll be brought up all year and going, oh, there's disharmony in the playing group because these two had a bit of a biff over an inflatable toy. So a couple of questions already firing in, so we will get to them. They will get to a point in the show where just to get through a few of the things we have, we'll have questions at the end as well. But again, you basically dictate where we go with the show. We want to communicate with you all. Your time to come in and have a chat while we're filming. Essentially, this is still going out as a podcast. So once we do the live show, I then edit it up and put it out as the podcast. So your chance to just have a bit of a chat there. First up, the old man, Dave Johnston. Do any coaches get sacked this season? Well, come on, Dad. You should be listening to the podcast by now because we have been vocal on a number of coaches. You've seen a post come out today which has gained a fair bit of interest. A few people saying certain coaches shouldn't be where they are. Can I just quickly point out with that, like someone like Riles, for instance, which I know there was a few para fans there, we're not saying he's anywhere close to being sacked. We're basically saying he is safe this year. He's just not in the Bellamy tier, which I think is fair enough. Like he's not Bellamy, he's not Wayne Bennett. So he's a new coach and you just don't know what's going to happen. So for mine, I think the two obvious ones are Peyton and Adam O'Brien. People continue to call us crazy. Well, I think only their fans call us crazy. The rest agree. But I definitely think it's probably those two on the chopping block. And I'm keeping a little eye on Benji Marshall and how that goes at the Tigers now. He's got pretty much a decent team that I think a lot of coaches in the NRL currently would do a decent job at. He's got no more excuses. So I'm keen there. Trav, any coaches for you?
No, I think you were pretty right. It's the same sort of thing. I think although he finished fifth last year, I think he's under pressure, and that's Todd Payton up at the Cowboys. I don't think he gets sacked during the year. Potential for maybe at the end of the year. I think the Cowboys would be silly if they do anything, but during the year. But yeah, I think maybe he's the only one under otherwise big time pressure. I think Uncle Nick has got Robbo pretty protected, so I think he's pretty safe. Although there's a lot of chatter around him and what's happening, and so rightfully so. And I think we talk about that later on. But yeah, maybe he's got a little bit of pressure as well to add to it. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with those two, Benji and AOB.
Jake?
Yeah, I suppose I didn't really think about it, but Benji's definitely under pressure. Like I said on a few podcasts ago, like I think he finally has a bit of a team where he definitely doesn't have an excuse to come last. They come last, he's out. That's I reckon that's almost not up for discussion. Like if they do manage to somehow come last, they're not keeping him around there at all. But I think he's safe 10 and up because that's still a big jump.
Yeah, for sure. Another one is going to probably be, we might hit that with our questions. It's Shem's one. I'll quickly show it. Just about the PNG. We'll hit that. I think that's one we go a little bit deeper on later on the episode. So I will star a few of these, which means I'll go back to them and we'll bring them up in our question time, which will be at the end. I see a few of these other questions for some of the regulars for this show has said bring it up later on in the episode, which we will do. Just quickly reading through as well. Look, it is a new sort of story. So let's attack this before we get into the team list for Vegas. It is the Rabbitohs. It's been a big story. All this happened after all of our podcasts last week and after our ladder predictions, which I don't know. Can I quickly just say stuff to some people out there that follow the page? And I love everyone. It's every single follower of our page. I absolutely love you. Thank you for the support, no doubt. Before you comment stuff like you guys have no idea, how can you put South in your 8? Can you just look and read what it says in the title and when the date was that it was published? Because clearly we had our predictions before that news broke. And yeah, I put it on a post today and I tried to revise a little bit and say changes that I personally would make now after trials. And I put some red arrows on a few of those teams, and especially South Sydney. So just please double check before you go at us. We'll cop it. We'll take it. Note for sure. Happy to. But just check it, please, because we're in the same boat. I personally, I'll ask the other two now. I don't have South in my top 8. I think Murray's a huge blow. And Latrell for 8 weeks is a huge blow because they've got a hard start. I'll actually go out and pretty much say a bold prediction. I can't see them winning a game to start the year for like 6-7 weeks. They've got a horrible run. Jake?
Oh, they drop out of my 8 for sure. I think I had them in 8th from what I remember.
Yeah.
So like they were barely scraping in there anyway. Like I didn't have them, confidently sitting in that 8. I had them as like, if there's going to be a team that slides in, I reckon they might be able to do it on the back of like Latrell and on the back of Cam Murray. Like they're the two like big, like, if we're going to win games, it's going to come off the back of them. And you're probably right. Like, to be honest, they might not win, I reckon, first 5 at least. It's a difficult, yeah.
They've probably got the toughest start to the year. I'm talking like 8 to 9 rounds of any other team in the competition. So it's just it's not pretty. Trav, your thoughts on the Rabbits? Are they still making your rate?
Oh, bro, I messaged you as soon as you posted it. And as soon as that came out, I went, hang on a second. Hell no, we're going to look like idiots. No way. There's no way we can have it. They're not just role players. Like, these are their playmakers. These are their superstars. Like, you can't replace that. Like, look at what happened last year to the Rabbitohs, and how you can't replace the superstar content that they are. Simple as that. Dolphins at Suncorp round 1. Then they've got the Dragons, and the way the Dragons played in trials, holy moly, that's a tough game. Sharks, obviously, they're at Sharks. Like, they've got to travel 3 weeks in a row. Then they have Penrith at home. Then they've got the Roosters. Then they've got the Cowboys at home. Then they go to the Accor to play Bulldogs, and then they got the Storm in Melbourne, and then they've got the Knights round 9, and then they got Broncos.
There you go. There's their win.
Like, potentially, yeah. Like, potentially, if those guys are back. But, I mean, 8 weeks. So Mitchell's had at least a week of that. So he might be back around round 6.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's danger signs, man. It's danger signs. Murray's done.
I must have missed. Like, I thought it was like most of the season. I thought he was. It might be back.
It's saying most, but it's an Achilles. It'll take him
surely
an age.
Not. I saw the NRL physio, quote the NRL physio here, that he said that the quickest recovery from an Achilles injury is 5 months. Like, and that's ridiculous, because I've had plenty of mates in all sports and in coaching and stuff that have had pulled Achilles, and they've been out 12 months, like at least 12 months. And then even when they return after 12 months, it's a slow recovery. It's not a good injury to have. So yeah, no, there is no way that, I mean, the way that their list was built, I thought that they were at the bottom of the 8. I thought they were a danger team, but I thought that they could fall down a bit. But now the superstars are out. No, see you later.
Yeah, I will get into these team lists in a second, but I forgot to mention one final thing in my intro, which seemed to last about half an hour. So we've got 2 giveaways tonight to give away live on air. So one is thanks to TC Coolers. Obviously, our League of Inches Coolers, which is now getting around a fair bit. There's been a number that have been already won and a few that have been purchased as well. So I really appreciate that additional support for the page. We've given away one tonight and one in not tomorrow night, it's Thursday night Supercoach episode for questions. But add in comments, ask questions. We'll choose the best question of the night, and they will win a cooler, a color of their choice, and we'll get that sent out to you within the next couple of days. And second one is our huge Magic Round event at the Velveteen Rabbit. Me and Trav went and checked out the place last weekend. The food, even though it won't be the food that you'll get on the day, they're doing a football menu, which is very smart by them. It was absolutely amazing. We have literally got there. This is a 2-story place. We have the whole downstairs booked out for League of Inches on the Saturday. So the big day, the one that everyone will be at, if you're going to be there, you need to get a ticket to this event. Only the way you can get these at the moment is by winning through any of our giveaways. And tonight, add comments. We will choose a lucky commenter at random throughout the night who will get to win that double pass to the event. I'm pretty sure a majority of the League of Inches crew will be there as well, so you get to meet all of us. We're not going to do one of those cheesy podcasts either. We literally want to go around and talk to everyone. Thank everyone for being part of things and just have a nice few hours chatting some footy, having a few drinks, having a couple of nibbles and stuff like that, and then we'll go on over and watch some football. So add the comments in. We'll be writing them down, and someone at random will be chosen to get that double pass. Let's get into it. The team list for Vegas. And first up, I want to chat about the women's game and purely the Gillaroos. Now, prerequisites by saying I have absolutely no idea about the England team, just to be honest with you. So we haven't got an England team up. I'm looking forward to watching them just to see their style of play and how they've improved their game over the last couple of years since the World Cup and things like that. But just quickly want to talk about, obviously, this women's team, because I look at it on paper, obviously now the new coach as well, it looks ridiculously good. So much talent in this team. It's actually scary. And look, without knowing much about the England team, I feel like this could be the old-fashioned cricket score for the Aussies, and they'll absolutely carve this up. But I'm looking forward to watching that and watching hopefully a couple of tries. Shout out to Sportsbet, but gamble responsibly. But it could be a great game to get some anytime try scorers up. The women normally have some good value there, so see what we can do there. But Trav, if you look at this lineup on paper, and wowee, there is talent galore.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How good is the NRLW at the moment? And as a girl dad, I just love what's happening. I love what they're doing. I'd love the decision to take the girls' game over to Vegas and make that a priority. It's just exciting. This is an amazing team. I second what Tim said. It's good to see Olivia Higgins there. I'm pretty keen on that. Watching Tamika Upton, I met her over the summer, so that was really good. I'm keen to go and watch this.
Yeah. Shout out to Olivia as well. We have had her on the podcast before. We are trying to organize, obviously this has impacted that, but we are looking at getting her back on for another interview, talk about some of this rep football and she's since our last interview with her and a couple of the other women as well. So the interview series will be back over the next couple of weeks, just trying to tee up some guests and time-wise. A lot of them that we have teed up are over in Vegas, unfortunately, so hasn't been the greatest timing for that, but good luck to Olivia. Definitely deserves it. Jake, what do you look at when you see this team? Who stands out?
Oh, it's got to be the 1 and 6. Obviously, Tamika Upton, we know that she's possibly the best. Honestly, she's an absolute freak. But Ali Brigginshaw is definitely no slouch at all. The entire team, man, it really does it sort of screams like a bit of a dominant performance. And I'm hoping that's what happens. But yeah, like if I'm lining up against Tamika Upton, I'm thinking we need to shut her down, like, no matter what. And I'm sure everyone does that. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, very, very true. First game of the NRL games will be the Raiders versus the Warriors. So Warriors slight favourites here at the moment, and it is played for Queensland viewers 10 a.m. at the moment. I am absolutely loving that. Get up, have a big morning breakfast, and straight into the footy. Obviously got the English Super League game before that, which I'll be getting up for watching as well. So pumped for Sunday. It feels like Christmas in a way for a lot of us. But so a few of the key changes to note, I think obviously Kyle Weeks, fullback, has been slotted in now. I think that after watching the trials, no surprises whatsoever there. Tamale won that wing spot. Ethan Strange will partner Fogarty in the half, so no room for Ethan Sanders at this stage. Corey Horsburgh, Big Red, wins that prop position. I know we'll probably talk about that a lot on the Supercoach show, but I know us Supercoaches are licking our lips at that look because I think all of us have him as our second front rower at the moment, so that works out perfectly. Tom Starling gets the hooker position, but Owen Paddy is on the bench, so just keep an eye on the minutes there. Look, I'm not going to go into Supercoach too much, but yeah, just keep an eye on what happens there. Zach Hosking, there was rumours he wasn't going to be playing this game. He has been named, as has the two Royal Rumble winners in Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies. Whether something comes further, I hope not, because, again, I just keep thinking about it and I just keep laughing. Big Josh Papali'i is named on the interchange. So he'll come on, add a bit of impact for the Raiders. Jake, what do you think about when you see this Raiders team? I'm pretty sure this is a full-strength Raiders side. I don't think they're missing anyone through injury. It's just they haven't made the side.
Yeah, no, look, it's definitely a strong side. I think before we because obviously we talked about predicted lists and stuff like that, and before we watched even a trial, so this is before when we were talking about it kind of thing, we sort of all had them pretty low. We were like middling, like they're going to surprise some teams. But this is a team that could beat a fair few good teams on their day, if I'm being honest with you. The biggest one, I suppose, to talk about is Owen Paddy, obviously getting his call up to get his crack. And I think that he showed that he deserved it. when he played his trials, definitely. I'm excited to see KO Weeks go like with a full 80 minutes too, because he definitely in that trial both trials he sort of got taken off early kind of thing, but he just showed, especially that one like long distance run in week 1, that was like ridiculous. I'm very excited to see that. And that's most of the thoughts I've got.
Yeah. Trav, before I get your NRL thoughts, there is a super coach question, so we will address it. Rodney's asking you, is Owen Paddy a trap?
Oh, bloody hell. I wouldn't say he's a trap. I can't say he's a trap. But I'm worried about his minutes. So in super coach context, I'm worried about his minutes. He is cheap price. I think he's just going to end up being a plotter on your bench. And what concerns me even more is that in the 18 spot who they've picked. And because I'm actually really surprised he's missed out. So I wouldn't say he's a trap. But yeah, he's not in my team and I'm avoiding him super coach wise.
Yep, for sure. Question that I'll get you to answer as well. Thoughts on Starling's minutes? Will they be similar to the end of last season? Mate, we've had that big of an off season. I forget what happened at the end of last year. Starling's minutes wise, give me a little bit of heads up, help me out. But I think he actually started getting a few more minutes. But I think what we've seen from Paddy in the off season, I think he will get okay minutes. Super coach side of things, I don't think it will be enough minutes to really change too much early, but I think it'll be pretty evenly shared, I actually feel like. So that'll be interesting to see. What is your thoughts from the NRL point of view for the Raiders lineup here? Do you have anyone missing that you thought harshly done by, or pretty much self-explanatory?
I think this is pretty much the Raiders team. I actually really like this list. Tamale being picked I think he's just floating in that spot. He's had an okay preseason, but I think we all know that that's Hopewadi's team spot. And the only reason why Hopewadi's not there is because he's been a dad, or to dad to be. Not sure if the baby's come yet, Joel, but you might know that. But I think so it'll be pretty close if it hasn't. So I think he'll probably drop out. I love your call there on Horsburgh. I think he's just primed for a massive year this year, isn't he? Like, he slimmed down, all the adversity and stuff that happened last year. I just think he's just ready to go. In terms of Tom Starling and what we were talking about before, Starling ended the year. He had an 80-minute game in round 20, then a 70, then an 80, then an 80, then a 62, 50, 46, and 44. And I think, off memory, that was when Levi had returned. So I don't think Starling's going to be an 80-minute player. Not with this. I think Owen Paddy will come in and take about 20 minutes of that, which is why he's a trap. And I think that kind of hurts Tom Starling super coach wise. Not that I'm trying to talk about that, but I was just answering that question a bit. But yeah, I really like this list. And I love that it's centered around my man Tarpany. I'm just so high on him. I can't wait to watch him this weekend.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'll agree with everything you all basically said. Can't wait to see Kyle Weeks tear it up. I feel like he's just at the moment in a bit of form. So I think with those sorts of players, when they're in that form, purple patch, you get on them early and just sit there and watch him carve up. So I anticipate him to have a really cracking start to this year, put himself on the radar of many when he had those big raps coming through the system at Manly. So really keen for that one. Next, we're not too sure. Will Trump blow the horn? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. They're keeping that very secretive. Apparently, they've asked some big names, so we will see. Over to the Warriors, the New Zealand Warriors. So the big changes there. There was a big fullback debate. They've all made the team. Obviously, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak hasn't through injury. That means we've got Roger and Tuapiki on the wings, and Chance gets the fullback spot. I think after watching that trial the other week, and Chance did a great job, I think that won him the right to maybe start in that position. I think the Dallin injury has helped ease that pain of not having Tuapiki miss out. He can play on the wing. Metcalf gets the halfback spot, but his partner, Chanel Harris-Tavita, that is crazy. So I'm not too sure what's happened there. I thought Tamari Martin was fine when he was there, but anyway, that is what it is. We'll see what happens there for the Warriors. There's always talking points for the round one scene. There's always a shock. There's always a bolter. Chanel just came from the clouds, it felt like. Aaron Clark won the lock jersey, so that is awesome to see. I guess Dylan Walker coming off the bench, which Trav called the last couple of weeks. He likes him coming off that interchange role and providing that additional depth in and around that 1 to 13 role. Trav, what are your thoughts around this Warriors side?
I like it on paper. I like where they've got some dudes. The only one that I'm really concerned about is the 6. I just massive call not picking TMM, as you said, and as was rightfully so. A few of the commenters have that today was not what I was expecting at all. Love the Tua picky pick. I'm really high on him and his talent, and really excited to see him on the wing. But let's be straight. Let's call it as it is. How good is it to see Roger out on the wing there? I'm so keen to see that. This is all about Roger this weekend for sure for me with the Warriors, and I can't wait to watch him carve up a game that I think is going to be refereed in a free-flowing game. It's all about offense. They just want to get points on the board and make it interesting for the Americans over there. So let's go.
Jake, thoughts?
You're muted.
You're muted. Oh, this is great. We've lost Jake's audio. Live podcasting, live shows. How good is it? Technology. While he sorts himself out, I'll let you know mine. And I'm with Trav. I love this Roger Tuivasa to wing, and I actually feel like it gets him more involved. He'll have the kick returns. He'll get involved from the 2 and 3 runs as well, which is one of the things that made him so dangerous before he did go away to rugby. That prop pairing of Fisher Harris and Barnett is one of the best in the competition, absolutely lethal in my opinion. And anytime you can play behind that sort of forward pack is huge for any club, and that should help someone like Metcalf, who is just coming to terms with the 7 jersey. Hopefully help him have a bit more time and have some time to play with the ball, things like that. I'm with everyone else. I am shocked with the Chanel pick. Tamari Martin, for mine, had his best games when Sean Johnson wasn't there last year. Hello, Sean Johnson isn't there again this year. He's retired. I thought it would have been a go-to because Luke Metcalf is still learning the game. So for mine, I wouldn't be rushing him to just take control and have someone else who sort of plays off the cuff with him. I would have had Tamari Martin as good sort of backup for him in case it sort of goes a bit pear-shaped during the game. And you know that Tamari Martin can actually fall back and be that sort of halfback player and guide the team around the park, and he's comfortable with that role. So I'm just a bit shocked there, but it is what it is. So we will see. Who knows? Jake's gone. Jake's not happy with his setup. He'll be back shortly. Don't worry about that. So get on over to the next game. So that would be after the women's game, and then it's 2:30 Queensland time, so 3:30 for you New South Welshmen that are listening. It is the Penrith Panthers up against the Sharkies. Now, the Panthers are slight favourites at the moment, pretty much same money as the first game. When we look at these lineups here, I'm a bit shocked. Now, for the Panthers, can never doubt them. Can never, ever doubt them. But let's look at there's a couple of big ins and outs for this team. So, Dylan Edwards passes his fitness test. There was a couple of little whispers flying around, but he is fit in the fullback role. No Brian To'o, which means Casey McLean and Paul Alamotti, who was probably penciled in to be the centre this year, does go to that wing spot, which he has played a number of times throughout last year. Luke Garner goes into the centres. Now, I believe there's a number of outside backs named on the extended bench. We've only obviously got to 18 on this screen. So I think there might be a little bit of mind games early on here from Ivan Cleary, because I'll be shocked if Luke Garner is playing in the centres. I think with the Sharks back 5, he will get absolutely shown up with speed and pace. So I don't anticipate that will be how it starts. If anything, maybe like a 10, 15 minutes just to get the bash and barge out. But again, I'll just be shocked. Even just to start, I'll be completely shocked. Jack Cole wins the 5/8 jersey. Now, there's already a few questions about Blaze. We will address that in a second. But Jack Cole wins, and we have mentioned it a couple of times. We weren't sure that Blaze was a lock-in because I really rate Jack Cole. I think he's a tremendous young talent, and it's good to see him win that jersey. For everything else, Jesse will be listening at some point or watching. Shout out to you, brother. Isaiah Papali'i is on the bench, as we rightly said to you a number of times throughout Supercoach when you were losing it over him. Scotty Sorensen and Liam Martin are in the back row, like us great rugby league minds predicted. So let's see if Jakey is back.
Surely.
Jakey boy. Yeah, he's back. Let us talk to us. Penrith Panthers.
Okay, Penrith Panthers. Luke Garner into 4. I don't know about that one. Like the way I see it, Paul Alamotti should have probably gone into the 4, and then could have had the McLean brothers on either wing. That's how I would have probably expected it to go. In terms of Blaze not getting that 6, I'm not going to lie to you. I expected it. I didn't think he was going to get the 6 in the first place. I think defensively he's going to have a lot of work to do before he's going to be the mainstay in that number 6 spot, personally. Other than that, the biggest issue, well, not issue, but the biggest surprise, I suppose, to me was Isaiah Papali'i in the 15 role. But at the same time, I kind of think he does need to earn his way into the spot, just like anyone else would, considering the quality of the team. So other than that, the team looks pretty strong. It's the Panthers. The team looks strong. We know that.
Yeah. Before me and you, Jake, have our say here, because Talangi obviously a little bit of a soft spot there, being our Para fans. I'm going to ask Chad because the question has been raised a few times, so we'll go to him first. What are your thoughts around this Blaze Talangi? I guess it's not technically a drop-in because he didn't have the jersey to start with, but it kind of feels like it is because many had him almost guaranteed to be that 6. So what are your thoughts around it?
I think it's his jersey still. I just think he's just got to do his apprenticeship. You've had the Panthers have had a very stock standard team for the better part, well, particularly in the halves, so the better part of 5 years now, longer than 5 years, and only needed the likes of Schneider last year and the likes of Cole in last year when injury came through and what it is. I think it's I don't think anyone really needs to be too worried. I think it's his role. He's only played an off season really, and he played a year last year for Para. I think it's just got to go and do his apprenticeship. So go back to the Q Cup or the New South Wales Cup and just go and work on a few things. And I bet you Ivan's literally told him, this is what you need to work on before you come to us. It's your role. Go and work on it. Come back. So yeah, I wouldn't be too stressed with that.
Josh in the comments has just mentioned he's also had a bit of off-season shoulder surgery, only been back a few weeks, which might play into it. A couple have also mentioned his defense, and I think that'll be a big thing for Penrith, even when he is fully fit. He definitely does need to work on that defense, and I don't think Penrith like babysitting people. I think they all want people to hold their own. They don't want to have protectors, even though Liam Martin or Sorensen will do a great job in doing so. They have so much structure and set structure. They don't want to go out of it. They don't need people to come in and fiddle around with that structure. They adapt to that structure. So Blaze definitely does need to strengthen himself to fit, I feel like, being a regular at 5'8", because there's no doubt teams will throw everything at him on a weekly basis. So it'll be a lot for him. Probably lucky as well, because obviously Cleary's come back from a bit of surgery as well, that he might get a bit of traffic thrown his way also, but I reckon they'll target Blaze a lot. Jake, anything further to add regarding the Blaze Talangi dropping?
No, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like, my biggest concern with him when he was at Para, and I understand that he got shifted around, there was heaps of stuff other than that's going on that we won't get into. But my biggest concern with him was always defense. There were times where he'd make a good tackle or whatever, but a lot of the time I was seeing a lot of almost look like kind of fear, like he was scared to really get in and make those to make that hard contact. So for all the stuff that I've ever said about Jerome Luai, one thing is he wasn't scared to make a tackle, and they can't have somebody in there who is. That's just the truth. They have a bunch of halves, so he's going to have to earn the spot. If he goes up there and he is not performing, he will get replaced. That's as simple as that.
And as a few are alluding to, this depth that Penrith have, this nursery, is actually ridiculous. To watch them on the weekend when they versed that Manly team who had a number of starters in that side. They had their literally probably third grade side name, Penrith, with a sprinkling of one or two players that have smelt first grade. That was actually ridiculous. But they're going to be just as dangerous once again. We've all said in our season previews. If you haven't, make sure you check them out before the season kicks off. But we have Penrith right up there once again, and if not winning the competition. Last team for Vegas, obviously the Cronulla Sharks, who Penrith are versing. Well, on paper, a very strong side. And when you think about Will Kennedy's won the fullback spot, we've questioned it a lot on the page this preseason. I think a number of other media outlets and fans in general have saying feels like he's the missing, he's the, sort of the link that potentially needs replacing. So we'll see what happens there. But at the moment, he's been given that, and probably rightly so. He does deserve to have his spot to start with, and see what happens. Sam Stonestreet gets that position from obviously Katoa, who is out for a long, long time, which, again, Legends Group heard about that first, somehow got leaked to other people who then questioned everything and said we were just jobbers that had no idea. So how are you feeling now? Because we were spot on and literally not to gloat, but we literally got it out early. So thanks, guys. But I'll cop it. We'll continue to cop it. It's all good. We'll be one of those big dogs soon enough. The halves, Nicho Hine has been named in the halfback jersey, but he sort of was in that trial game as well. And it was very clear Trindle did a lot more of the playmaking as a traditional 7. So I feel like he'll be more of that 5'8" role. And yeah, I think that might suit Hines a little bit better, but I know Trav is very, very set on moving Hines to fullback, which I think is definitely something that people can't argue with. Big recruit, Adam Fanua-Blake gets his first start in the NRL for his new team at prop. And apart from that, pretty much straightforward. There's no other real shocks. It's just a very strong side on paper. It is very scary, actually. Trav, thoughts?
How strong is this team when Mulatalo is injured for months, and then you bring in Stone Street and everyone just goes, oh yeah, like it's sorry, Katoa, my bad. Yeah. Katoa goes out for months, and Stone Street comes in and no one blinks an eye. Like, does that not just tell you how good those edges are? I am so sold on Nicho Hines going to fullback on this list. It's just unreal. And have a look at who they put in the 14. I have this feeling that's going to happen. Like, something's going to happen here, because why would you name him as the 14th? Like, just put him in the set, put him in the 6 or 7, and put Hines back. Like, just do it. Like, I feel like that's what they're stepping stone into. But if I look across this park, I look across this list, sorry, and I'm just like superstars everywhere. Like, and now they've just added AFB. Thomas Hazelton was so underrated last year, so underrated, and he's sitting in the 17 jersey. Like, that's how freaking good AFB is and how much better he's just made this team. Maybe the only one I'm looking at here that I think might be a bit iffy is Kafusi. I'm probably a little bit shocked with who they've got on the bench and who's not been able to play. But yeah, this is a great list. I just want to say, Diggs, did you you wrote down 1 to Sharks 1 to 12? Do you mean as in that you're thinking the Sharks are going to beat Penrith 1 point to 12, or is that what he's saying?
1 to 12. Yeah, 1 to 12. It's not a bad shout either. Quick one, I guess this is another Supercoach question for Stone Street. He'll have that spot for a long time.
Oh, he's got
so I think it's out for months.
3 months.
So yeah,
3 months.
I definitely have my eye on him as well. Yeah, definitely. I think I'll just wait for after this first game or two. Jake, anything to add for this Sharks lineup? It's just it's straightforward. It's what we expect, but just seeing it officially, they're going to be right up there this year.
No, the main thing that I'm going to say, I suppose, is that I said earlier that this team is one that could beat any team in the comp, and what a better way to start it than beating the one that's, gone 4 in a row. I'm not saying they're going to. I don't think they're going to. I just think what a way to start the season. That would get them up there straight away, so they'd be aiming up.
Yeah. What about let's we're going to do our official tipping post once again this year. We'll have that out probably on Friday, maybe Saturday. We won't wait till Sunday morning because a lot of people might not even be up yet, but we'll get that out probably Saturday. But let's get our tips here, boys. So the first one, Raiders versus the Warriors. Who is our early tip? Again, this might change come the post, but our early thoughts around this. Jake, who wins this one, Raiders or Warriors?
Yep. Raiders.
Trav?
Oh, this is a tough game. Yeah, I've got the Raiders. But I feel so dirty about not picking the Wars.
Like, close. I know. Close. Very close.
I think it's super close as well. I just think the fact they got Fogarty there, the Raiders, that kicking game, now that Tamari Martin has been named for the Warriors, could be a huge difference and a deciding point there. So I think the Raiders very, very tightly. Obviously, the one we just spoke about there as well, Penrith versus the Cronulla Sharks. Who have we got here, Trav?
I've got the Sharks.
Jake?
I've gone Penrith, but I'm so second guessing myself, but I've gone Penrith.
I'm with you, Jake. I've got Penrith now, but just keep an eye on who I officially lock in for that post because I think both games. What a cracking! I know, like Reynolds originally named that these were the 4 teams going over. It was met with a lot of I don't know if they're the greatest teams, but I think as we get closer, maybe it's because we're just all itching for it. But it just feels like they're all pretty even on paper. Should be 2 cracking games. So I'm really, really keen. And it just shows that we're not sure of who to tip either already. So that'll be great to see. Now, just to split things up, we're going to start going into a bit of the meat, the news articles from the week, some of the news stories, talk about some of the stories post-trials as well. The Roosters are up. The Leniu situation, which has been huge on our social media, we're going to talk about, and a bit about the teams that have impressed us over the trial weeks. But first of all, we're going to play a bit of a game. And this week, it's the blind rankings. And Jakey boy's up first. He's put his hand up. I know this has been around social media and that for a while, the last couple of months. And I thought, let's start breaking up the live shows, have a bit of fun in it as well. We will start doing these blind rankings live on air. Then you'll be able to see the real version of it in the next day or so as well. So today's topic for you, Jake, is top 5 halves pairing. So if you don't know how this works yet, it is you get 1 to 5, and Jake has to put these halves pairings into 1 to 5 for his actual radar. He doesn't know who I'm going to say. He just has to guess randomly where he should put them, and we'll see at the end. And play in the comments as well. We'll give you a couple of seconds before I go to the next one, and let me know your numbers. First up, Andrew and Matthew Johns.
How did I know that was going to come quickly? I'm going to put him at number 2.
2, okay. Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary.
It's got to be number 1. It just kind of has to be. For what they've done, I'm going to put him at number 1.
Okay. Peter Sterling and Brett Kenny.
3.
Luke Keary, Cooper Cronk.
I'm going to say 4 now. I'm so scared for what you're going to say at 5.
Benji Marshall and Scott Prince.
Oh, you know what? I'm actually pretty okay with that. I'm pretty okay with that, though. Go through it.
I'll go over it. So what you've got, 1 is Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. You think they are the top tier halves pairing of this list. 2, Andrew Johns and Matthew Johns. 3, Peter Sterling and Brett Kenny. 4, Luke Keary, Cooper Cronk. And 5, Benji Marshall and Scott Prince.
I'm pretty happy with that. To be honest with you, I'm okay with that. After seeing it all the way through, I'm pretty okay with it.
Well, Shem was playing along and he was quite similar to you. So looking back, I probably would have had Sterling and Kenny a little bit higher. But I think Matty Johns, shout out to you, Matty Johns. I think you let the brothers down in that partnership.
I probably would have swapped them into 2. Like 2 and 3 are the 2 I'd swap. Yeah. Other than that, I'm pretty okay with it.
Trav, what are you now? You know the game. That was your thoughts. You're pretty similar to what he was saying.
Yeah, I probably would have done the same thing with the thought that I thought maybe you might have had a different 4th and 5th pick pairing. I'm
Like
surprised.
swap
Kiri,
or-
I'm surprised. Well, no. As in, I just didn't think those names would come up.
Yeah,
So,
it threw me. It definitely threw me.
I just didn't think it put Cronk and Kiri. I didn't see those two coming up, and yeah.
Well, they did.
That'll be a different topic each and every week. Maybe send us in some as well, and we'll hit your topics up as we go. We're going to have about what, 26 or so weeks of this, so we'll need to have a few topics as we go. Let's talk about some of the news articles. And at the moment, Sydney Roosters are in the headlines, and a lot of talking points around them. That trial or their trials has been extremely poor, in my opinion, especially on the weekend against a Knights team that copped an absolute battering throughout the week. Many have continued to say they're wooden spoon favourites, myself included. But the Roosters, with plenty to prove, didn't show up. Their halves pairing that will be their halves pairing come round one did absolutely nothing. Chad Townsend doesn't look like a first grader. Let's be honest there. Where are we at with the Roosters? How worried are you heading into this season? Because they've obviously got a host of big names that are departed the club that just won't be there. Maybe Manu mid-season if they get lucky. By then, I'm predicting they'll probably be out of finals football already, unfortunately. And then you've got their two big injuries as well, Brandon Smith as well, Sammy Walker. This is crazy. They just are you even more worried about it now after watching that, Jake?
I mean, they got pumped by the team we have all picked for last place. I understand it's a trial, I really do, but the scoreline that they got put on them is irrelevant of injuries. Like, that's just unbelievable, to be honest. The amount of it was. I can't even talk about it. But the big sort of concern for me is, I suppose, I love the way he plays. I love him so much. In Connor Watson, he plays with so much intensity and energy. But over pretty much 25 rounds, if he's going to end up doing like the 80-minute hooker role, that's a bit of a concern, I'd say. But other than that, I think, that the biggest concern was just getting pumped by the Knights. Like, I can't stress that enough. We've all talked about the Knights coming dead last pretty much, consistently throughout this offseason. And the Roosters just went out with a pretty strong-looking side and got absolutely belted. So I'm concerned. Yes, it's an understatement to say I'm very concerned.
Trav, we deal with Jesse on a weekly basis. What's the little heads up? Because I had him on Sunday night, and to say he's starting to get concerned is an understatement. He is basically already written the season off, and the ball hasn't even been kicked.
So to add to it, they had a pretty solid team the week before that and got belted by the Dragons. So, actually true, which is what's been put in the comments. So, well done there. So to be fair, they haven't been great to start off the year. Am I concerned? No. And the reason why I'm not concerned is because I didn't really think much of them this year. So I kind of think they're just doing what I kind of thought they would. I mean, I thought they'd be a bit more competitive, but again, I'm not buying into it. I don't like the trials at all. I'm not keen on it. So, and whilst there are things that I've gone and watched that have, got me excited, or I've been keen to watch, or I like the storyline or something like that, I'm still at the back of my mind. I'm like, this is still a trial. I really don't care. Like, it's going to happen in a couple of weeks. And for us now, it's in 4 days, and it's going to be a very different play game. It's going to be a different ref game. They're going to have different structures. Most of these guys are going to be going full ball, full pelt. Yeah. So no, I'm not concerned really much at all. And I think that's sort of you're trying to segue into some of the news that also happened this week, which, to me, I think is just nothing. I'm not too fussed by it, really.
So my biggest concern with the Roosters is they've got no real backup options at the moment, because they feel like they're almost chasing their tail already with all these departures and not many signings. They're sort of starting the season on the back foot, which we've never seen before. Every other year we look at them on paper and we go, this side's going to win the comp. Like, every year it just feels like this side is just almost a guarantee to win the comp. They've got quality all over the park, where this year is the first year in a long, long time where you sit there and you go, what is this Roosters team? Like, what's going on? And people go, yeah, they got Crichton, they got Teddy still. Yeah, they do. But Teddy's shown over the years he cannot be that person that does it all. And unfortunately, I feel like that's what he's going to be caused to do this year, is do a lot of the attack. And he can't handle that. He plays better when he's not as much on the ball. And that's how he played last year. And he was so good. So I do worry about his form throughout the year. Crichton was very, very quiet on the weekend. I'm not sure if that was a halves issue. The trial issue, I know everyone keeps saying it's a trial, don't we? But we've got to talk about what we see on the field, and that's what we've seen. And again, now my big concern was their halves. Sandon Smith with Townsend. Townsend was just so far off the pace, it felt like, and it was a trial game. So we've seen a lot of young halves over the last few weeks. Humphries comes to mind, where they've absolutely tore these trials apart. And you'd think against some weaker opposition, if we're calling Knights a weaker opposition, someone like Townsend would stand up, but they didn't. Now the concern is Spencer Leniu. And before we get onto the big rumours that were out about him, he's now suspended, I think, for 2 weeks if he gets the early guilty plea. So they're starting the season again without one of their big stars. So it's not good. I think there was a question up there before about the centre pairings for the Roosters. So I think it's Toya and Marky Mark, Nwanga Wingatasi. So that looks like it's been locked in for the start of round one, which they've got a lot of raps on Toya, but it's another young guy that is unproven, and Marky Mark's unproven at NRL level as well. So just all these question marks, which I do not remember the last time we started a season with the Roosters with so many. And the final question before we get into Spencer is, they don't seem to be hitting the target when it comes to recruitment. I actually felt like when you look at like some of them recent signings, you can question them, which you never have been able to question with the Roosters. Like Brandon Smith has been an absolutely shocking signing. That has not been a good signing whatsoever. Yet I don't think it's been spoken about enough. Like, it's just, I feel like their recruitment over the last few years has been really, really poor.
I think
from both the retention and recruitment.
I think we're only saying that because we're so used to the Roosters killing it in recruitment. At the time, Brendan Smith was a good. Everyone raved about how good that was, and the Storm didn't want to let him go. We just didn't. They did, but we just didn't want to pay it. We couldn't pay him as a 9, and why? And why would you put him there? You had Harry Grant. So, like, at the time, Brendan Smith, it just hasn't worked out for them, and not everything is going to work out for you. Even the Roosters are going to have a failed situation. But there are so many other bits and pieces over the last 12 months. Like, you've got the Fafita situation and what happened with that. Now Manu's gone. But word is Manu's not doing very well in the rugby union from what I've been told. So, so like it's, so he's probably going to look at coming back. But he left even. There are question marks around what it is, because the reputation of the Roosters is they will always sign someone. At the end of the day, though, they still have. It's just not for 2025. They've got Robson. They've got a crap load of money sitting there for sure. Something else will happen. It'll happen. It just hasn't. We're just so unused to seeing them not do much in a preseason. It just doesn't happen. So we're all sitting here questioning it. I'm not sitting here saying that there's problems with the franchise. I don't think there's problems with Robbo. I just think it just hasn't worked out for a year for the first time in freaking 20 years.
So Spencer Leniu, it was a post that we put out there. Absolutely busy as. It was a huge post. I know this is going to split opinion. Fake news. We've got the old Donald Trump out there. Fake news. Let me tell you this for one thing first, before we get stuck into this. Do you know the amount of times that clubs and player managers come out and deny stories for the sake of saving face and getting extra bit of money from either side, whether it's the club or the player, things like that? It works into their story. We've just spoken about a number of things which for us feels like the Roosters aren't the Roosters of old. And let's remember, when Spencer signed with the club a few years ago, they were this big, glitzy, glamour club. And by all reports, he isn't fitting in with that culture. That's not him. He does miss a lot of that Western, the boys and stuff like that. I think that's natural because he just suits that culture, and that's who he is. And that's probably where he played his best football. I'm still buying into it a bit. I think there is some fire where this smoke is coming from. just remember that, as I said, there is reasons why some of these things get turned out so quickly by clubs. Oh, there's no truth, blah, blah, blah. Would not surprise in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot more to this story, which I have heard murmurs of. There is a bit more to this story that hasn't been released yet. It's more of a timing thing and to make sure the Roosters don't have to pay for too much of his salary, things like that. Jake, what do you think about when you see this story that came out? Fake news if it is, if it isn't, but your thoughts on the Spencer Leniu situation if he is in fact seeking a release?
I think I'd love to see him come to Parramatta. No, look, I could see it. He's gone over there. The Las Vegas incident from last year where he was out for, 8 weeks or something after the comment and stuff like that. And then he's kind of definitely not played his best footy. Like, he's come on and he's done some good stuff, but he also got promised the starting side. I think it seems like he got promised starting side when he went across there, and then it doesn't seem like he's really got that. Now, if he does decide to go somewhere else, it's a bit like, is he going to only sign somewhere where he'll get a starting side or not? That's the kind of question I have. But I think the classic where there's smoke, there's fire. I definitely think that it's real.
Trav?
I'm just going to take it for face value and go, the club came out and said it's rubbish. The managers come out and said it's rubbish. So I'm just, for me, unfortunately, it's not a big talking point. I need some more information.
You might be able to get that over the coming weeks. We will see. Now, just on the trials, obviously it's been a big week, couple of weeks of trials, 3 weeks actually, because the Vegas side started that week earlier. Which team impressed you boys the most, and which player impressed you the most? Trav, I'll go to you first, knowing you've no doubt done your research.
Yeah, of course. I've got my notes here. That's why I keep looking.
What's that supposed to mean, Joel? Huh?
I don't have faith in you.
Yeah. So the team that's I think is a really easy one, and that's the Broncos. I'm just incredibly impressed with what the Broncos put out, and one of my guys that I want to talk about is Hunt, and just how they looked on the weekend. What Hunt did and how the combos that he's created for 2025, I just Jesus, it's danger signs. NRL danger signs. What he was able to produce and how they played, how Cobbo was freed up. I think the Stags injury today for the next 4 to 6 weeks sort of hurts. But there's talk that Dane Mariner?
Dean Mariner.
Dean, I think.
Dean Mariner. He wasn't going to get picked. So Stags goes out and guess who gets to come in? He's no scrub. My Broncos trial that I really enjoyed watching was them and Hunt and what he produced. But I also just want to give a kudos where I think a kudos is due. And I was really impressed with what the Dragons put up. Just really impressed with that. From what they've come, where they were, how we've all predicted them in the bottom. And they may still be there, but just what I saw of the trials and how they played, really impressed with them. So kudos where it's due.
Jake, team and player? Take me to town.
Oh, my team. No, my team was the Dragons. I think we all kind of went into it sort of saying, they're just going to get pumped all the time, and they just didn't ever look like it. So they went up against the Roosters, and they went up against the Rabbitohs, which obviously at the moment aren't two of the strongest sides. I do get that. But what they produced wasn't just they only just scraped by and beat them. They really sort of showed we are up for this. We want to be part of this competition. I'm not copying that we're a bottom 2 team. And I think that's something that they kind of needed to do. They kind of needed to come out in that trial and sort of go to their fans hey, we're here. We're not this crappy team that everyone's basically saying who's going to come last or whatever. At the same time, they're going to need to do that through the season. As for a player, I know that I'm a Para fan and I'm going to cop it for this one potentially, but I just thought that Isaiah Iongi, everyone had those question marks around him at the start. I know, Trevor, right? Yeah, shake your head. But he had the question marks around him, and everyone was going, especially after round 1. So that he played a little bit, and then Josh Papali'i came on, and everyone's like, is Josh Papali going to get that spot, or what's going to happen? And then I think in that second game, it impressed me a lot where Iongi kind of came out and then just kind of went like, no, sit down. Like I will be getting this spot round one, and kind of forced his way into it. And I just thought that was impressive.
He had some good moments. I'll give him that for sure. I won't bag you out. Trav can shake his head at you, but I'll support another para brother. For me, I can't. It's hard to go past. I really want to give two teams a wrap, and for different reasons. The Broncos, just how quickly it feels like they've adapted to the Madge era and the style. They are looking so strong. I know it was trials and stuff like that, but let's not forget they've actually both their trials. They probably had two of the teams actually fielded fairly strong lineups in both of those weeks, so they had good quality opposition against, and they put them both to the sword. And the Bulldogs, everyone is wrapping them. But they effectively made it look like the Bulldogs were on a tier below, which was crazy in itself. I think the Broncos were really, really good. Very nervous to verse them in the coming weeks. If you're an NRL team, that's for sure. And the Dragons, you sort of mentioned it before, but just their playing style, nothing flashy. But then they racked up a heap of points on a South Sydney team that was granted there for the taking. But there's some people in a trial that wouldn't do that. The Dragons did. They made a statement. Great to see, because I think Flanagan is a really good coach. I really do rate him personally. Thought Parramatta should have gone after him maybe a couple of years ago, and I copped a little bit of backlash for that. But I think we're seeing exactly why now. I thought that would have been a great move. Questions now. We're up to questions. So we do have a few starts, so we'll go to them. If you have any questions to send in, just a reminder, best question of the night will go in. We'll win that TC coolers, so the League of Inches cooler. And the best comment, which there's been a few really ramping in at the moment, the best comment will win that double pass to our Magic Round event on the Saturday, 11 to 2 at the Velveteen Rabbit, right on Caxton Street. It's literally 2 doors up from the Caxton. So it's prime real estate to get your Saturday started. You simply need to be there. So a couple of the ones I've starred while you get a few more in. Mark Brown, this is a big one. Question for later. Would you rather win the competition than get the wooden spoon for 10 years, or win the competition, then be kicked out of the competition for the next 5 years, and the team you hate wins them for 5 years? Goodness me. Give me option A, I think. I think I'd rather win the comp and just win the spoon for the next 10 years. I mean, Parramatta fan, we haven't won the comp for that many years. Yeah. So I'd take another 10 years of pure shit if it means we win the comp at least one year and we get to just party like it's 1986 once more. Trav, what are you choosing?
I'll go option A, because I can still watch my team even if they fail. Like, it is what it is. Can't always be good.
Yeah, we can just go into super. We'll just be we're super coach fans now. It's all good.
That's exactly right.
Oh, absolutely option A, because I mean, same thing. I want to be able to watch my team, and I just don't want to see. I don't even know who my least favorite team is, but I don't want either Panthers or Storm. It's one of those two. Sorry, I don't want to see them win another comp. Oh, Trav's face just dropped. I saw it. I was angry.
Shem, you've been huge in the comments tonight. Thank you, brother. One of my big talk points from the offseason, we haven't obviously addressed this live on air. We did mention it a couple of times in our podcast, but PNG ready to enter the comp as early as 2026. Well, as early as 2026, I haven't heard that rumor. If I've missed something there, but I'm hearing it's more towards 2028, I think, is more of the realistic option.
2028, wasn't it? They've only just recently announced that they're going to do the combine. It's going to cost billions.
Yeah, 2026, no chance. They've got that much to build. Apparently, they're building prison fences basically to keep the players and families safe, all that jazz. We've spoken at length that it doesn't sit right with us. We understand what's happening. We love the game in PNG. We love the PNG fans. We've got a number of them that follow the page, so we're not trying to have a shot there. Love the growth. Love that, but I'm definitely not ready for next year. No way in the world. Trav?
No. They're not ready to enter the competition. It's as simple as that. Like, they haven't even started recruiting. They're not going to recruit now to get ready for a preseason and then start next year. That's no. And then I think I only just saw this week, was it yesterday or even just at the end of last week, that they've just announced what they're going to do with the combine that they're building. And that's going to cost billions. which means billions of dollars, means lots of time to take to do it. So, yeah, I still think it's 2028 was the minimum.
That seems like what he said in the comments. It's actually Shem said it was a typo. He said it was meant to be 2028 as the question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Jake, we spoke about the Roosters at length. Will they make the 8?
No chance.
What about the podcasters? Thank you. No chance.
Yeah. Sorry. No chance. That doesn't. Video. Yeah, that's true. True. Sometimes it's an audio medium. I forgot about that. But yeah, no, definitely not. Not gonna.
Jamie has said he might have tuned in a bit later. Will South Sydney, with South Sydney likely to slip from the 8, does Parramatta surge as a chance? Well, I mean, the only person to ask here is Trav, because both me and Jake, whether we follow his answer, I try not to. I did have him just in my 8, so if anything, this might mean they go up 1 spot to 7th. Trav, does this put Parramatta into top 8 chances for yourself?
Oh, I mean, it gives them a chance.
Saying there's a chance.
I mean, there's a chance. I mean, there's 8 other teams that can't make it, right? So there's a chance. But no, I don't think so.
What about this one, boys? Would you rather this is from Jamie again. Would you rather Chad Townsend or Jackson Hastings as your halfback? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to go. I think I'm going to have to go Jackson Hastings.
See, I was going to do the same thing, and I thought you were going to go to the easy option and say Townsend.
No,
I'd go Hastings because I think at the moment his talent's better. I think he's a better player. I think in the right situation, he's going to be with the right coach, in the right people around him. He can be much better than what's happening at the Knights.
Yeah, I'd probably go Hastings as well because, actually, it says at halfback. You know what? I'll go different just because shout out to you, Jacko. I know you love the page. You've made that very well known. Everyone will know that story by now. So, you know what? No, go the Chad. Let's go for a game of golf, brother. I support you. But last one for the starter ones before I get to the live questions. Another one from Shem. And Shem, thanks for the questions, brother. You will win this week's cooler. So message the page. Let us know if you want the Super Coach, the green one, or our traditional white one as well. So send the page one, please. One for the Broncos. What do you do with the Mam situation, especially if the squad end up having a really good 9 weeks without him? You can't just bring Mam back and push everyone around if it's working well. Major disruption. We actually started to hint toward this last week or two, haven't we, boys? We've said that if this is killing it, like as we've seen on the weekend, this Reynolds and Hunt combination with Walsh at the back, I think those 2 experienced ones really calm Walsh down and make him an even better player, which is really, really scary. I would leave it and I'd just say, man, you can work your way back through Queensland Cup and wait for the Reynolds injury probably, which will no doubt happen. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
Trav?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. The only thing that maybe, not maybe, because I think it's unfortunately inevitable, is an injury happens. So therefore, Mam's going to get a walk in. But I actually think the Broncos really need to have a think about this. Like they've got Pakes who's playing as the hooker this week. Hot take is that he's going to be named at the 9. Which they've got Moser because of the injury, and he's supposed to be a superstar in the making. So he's going to have to get a chance. Otherwise, he's going to walk out the door. So I think they have to leave Hunt there at the 6 and 7 with Reynolds. And so I actually think that they need to just really sit there and go, do we really need the headache? We know what's going to happen when Mam gets back. Do we need that headache? And the only way that I want to change anything that's a working formula at the moment is if it's not working. And if it's not working, then Mam has to come in. But I also, because at the end of the day, whilst he's suspended, he's still training. He's still going to be doing, like they'll have been putting him through the ringer for the next 10, for all the preseason and the next 10 weeks. So, I think the headache is avoidable and they can avoid that because we know what's going to happen when he gets picked. As soon as he walks on the white line, what's going to happen? We just know it's going to happen.
You phrase that intentionally, or
yep. Jake, can you please go? Because that could go anywhere.
I think the only real way I see something changing is if throughout the year, even if they're being sort of successful or semi-successful, because they have so many hookers, if they're rotating them around a bit to try and see what works best, they may have a crack at putting Mame obviously back into the halves and Hunt in at hooker or like that kind of 14 role to kind of jump in. But I don't see it happening if they're smashing it. Like if they're sitting top 4, I don't see it changing. They're just going to go. You have to sit back and wait. You can earn your spot, or someone can get injured. They're your 2 ways to get back into this side.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry if I feel like I'm pulling my eye out, guys. I've actually got something in my eye. Live podcasting. I don't know what it is. Some little bug or something, but who knows? It should fall out at some point or just fall into my brain. Where are we up to? Yeah, here we go. We got our thoughts on the new HIA rules. So he's reading here where the players get sin bin if the player fails their HIA. I think if they just get taken off for HIA, they get sin bin. I'm feeling like if it's direct contact, if it's forceful, they go the sin bin. I don't mind it. It's got to be policed the right way because this could become a bit of a very grey area very, very quickly, and we could be talking about this a lot down the track. But if it's done right, I like it. Anything else, boys, to add?
Yeah, so I do. Go, Jake, because you said.
Oh, look, I was just going to say, I think it should be the way it is now, okay? And then if a player doesn't return, the player who took them off also doesn't return. Simple as that. I think that's the way it should be. I don't agree with the way it is at the moment. Like this rule coming in, don't agree with it. You get too much. You get too much. You get too much of an advantage if in that 10 minutes that it takes for that person to get the HIA test, right? It just puts the other team at such a disadvantage. It's just not worth it. Personally, I think it needs to go back to if the contact is direct and forceful straight away, that both players go off, and then if one player doesn't return, then that's it. You're a man down all game. Done.
Trav?
I hate it. I really don't like it. I think we've now set up another way to interpret something that we need to get away from. And interpretation is going to be a big thing here. And I hate that. I just can't say how much more I don't like this. I think if it's very clear that it was like a purposeful hit, the dude's not coming back, we can all see that this is going to be a suspension. Yeah, sure. Get rid of it. Like sin binning. That's it. Don't let him come back. But yeah, I think there's too much interpretation in this, and I think it's going to get rorted. And I'm about to watch, and I think I'm about to go and see what the Storm do and what Penrith do, who are the masters at rorting rules. So yeah, I don't like it.
Quick one for Adam Wilson. I know you've been bagging me out because of all this fake news, but your comments have been great tonight. You've been supporting, which is I love to see. Message the page. You will win the double pass for the giveaway tonight to come to that Magic Round event at the Velveteen Rabbit. Send the page a detail, a message, and I will get back to you once we finish the show with a few more of the minor details. Hopefully you are attending Magic Round as well. We're going to make sure of that. Paul, who wins the spoon? Well, for me personally, I don't know about the other boys. I haven't changed yet. I know I did like a few of the things I've seen from the Knights on the weekend. Again, it's just a trial though, so I don't know how much to read into that. So Knights are my lock for the spoon. Boys, are you sticking with? I think we all had the Knights. Are we both sticking?
I'm going to stick with it for now. I'm willing to be. My mind can be changed after round 5, but for now, it's only doing trials.
Trav, you sticking?
Well, first of all, Adam's in our Div 3 of our draft competition, so love that he's there. And second thing, I am going to stick with my prediction. I still think, it's a trial. So be it. I'm not buying into it just yet. So I need to see some proof. And I've sat there and watched all of the comments and watched everything about it, and everyone's copped it, and everyone's like, "Oh, I can't wait till you eat your words," and blah blah blah. And if I do, awesome. I had to make a prediction, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. Like I'm not losing sleep over it. I made a wrong call. It is what it is. We all do it. I'm actually pretty confident that out of most of those teams, we're probably going to get 75% of it wrong. Like it is, it's such an interesting year this year. And like you go and like you said before, Joel, like the Warriors Raiders, when that game got announced last year, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Like surely like this is the biggest game, it's the start of the year. And now have a look at us. We're watching that team and going, holy moly, how good's this going to be? So like this year's going to be so hard to pick. Every game's going to be so tough, and literally, as you said, Joel, you're going to have to turn up every game.
Can't wait for it. It's going to be a fantastic year. And on that note, that's us for the night. We're done and dusted. Absolutely huge show to start the year. Just a reminder about what's to come for the remainder of the week. We're just building up post-wise with Vegas news. Get involved as you have been the last couple of days. Let's make sure that content is just going off the chain. Please do us a favor. Simply like, add a comment, tag a mate, tell them to come and tune into League of Inches. Let's just continue to grow. I think we're not far off 20K followers on Facebook, which is absolutely huge. If we can tick that off by Sunday, wow, we cannot wait to see that. So we haven't got the Supercoach show tomorrow night. It's actually getting postponed one night. I'm at the Parramatta season launch tomorrow night, fly in, fly out mission for myself. So unfortunately, we miss out on that. We'll do it on a Thursday night. So get your questions in. I'll put the question post out probably tomorrow at some stage. Get your Supercoach questions in, and we'll attack them on Thursday, especially now we've got a few team lists as well, which is always handy. And then we've got Jake. Get ready for it. We've got a huge Sunday. We've got to get through a number of games of football, and then we get into and rip and tear in our weekly review podcast, which everyone has been loving as well, with a bit of a Supercoach twang to it. And I think that might be Jesse. But while Trav's on air, it'll be Jesse or Trav will alternate with that on a week-to-week basis and just let us know their thoughts around the week that was Supercoach-wise as well. So plenty to come, as you can see, and plenty to come into the future, into the season as well. This will be our 3 shows, live show. Make sure you have this noted down in your calendar each and every week. Have the same sort of guys coming on, guys and girls, sorry. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's been a great live show. Loved having it. Trav, thank you, brother. Jake, thank you.
Hey, I feel like Diggs 96 in the comments is a little bit rough. Up at about 8:44 when he agreed with my point and made it a point to say, agree, Trav. I think I'm disappointed for you, Diggs. Message Joel and have a go at him. And hey, Shem, my job, that's my job. Now that you're more confused about the Broncos, I've succeeded. Well done. Give us a message and I'll explain it a bit better for you.
And please, we are literally like, I keep saying, Legends Group, 10 shy of 50. I really would love to get to this 50 mark by kickoff on Sunday. Get in there. It's $2.99 for just literally 1 month. There's no there's nothing like that. You can go in. If you don't like it, get out. You don't need to stay in there. But please give us a chance. Go in there. $2.99 a month. Great value. Get in there. Get yourself a polo shirt of a club of your choice for this year as well. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you on the next podcast Thursday night.